welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a whole stack of sources, articles, research, our notes, and boil it all down to the key insights, basically giving you a shortcut to really understanding what's going on.
Exactly.
And today, we're looking at something that was definitely more than just a scoreline. Manchester City's 2-0 win against Wydad AC back on June 18th, 2025. And this wasn't just any old match. This was their opener in the brand new FIFA Club World Cup, played over here in the U.S. at Lincoln Financial Field in Philly.
A huge stage for the opener.
Absolutely. So our mission today isn't just to tell you who won. We want to unpack the tactics, look at some surprising performances, get into the unexpected drama.
There was definitely some of that.
Right? And maybe most importantly, explore what this totally new competition format actually means. By the end, you should have a really solid grasp on why this game mattered, not just for City, but for, a whole landscape of global club soccer.
Yeah.
Expect some aha moments.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. Manchester City starting their FIFA Club World Cup title defense. But like we said, totally new format, new players making debuts, all in front of, 37,000 fans in Philadelphia. This wasn't just another day at the office, was it? What really set this match apart?
No, it definitely wasn't routine. For City, look, it was about making a statement right away, and they did. With a convincing 2-1 win over Wydad AC, who are, a pretty well-organized team, that puts them straight to the top of Group G.
Good start.
But like you said, the context is key. The sources all mention these sweltering Philadelphia conditions. Think about it. Mid-June, probably humid, could easily be in the 80s, maybe even 90s Fahrenheit.
That drains you.
Exactly. It affects everything: stamina, how you play tactically. Maybe you conserve energy, make subs earlier. So for City to dominate like they did, especially the rotated squad we'll get into, in those conditions, that says a lot about their fitness, their focus, right from the start of this demanding new tournament. It really set the tone.
And they didn't waste any time setting that tone, did they? Phil Foden, bang, goal after just 1 minute and 51 seconds. Apparently a new Club World Cup record. Walk us through that. How did it happen, and what did it mean right then, beyond just, 1-0?
It's fascinating how fast they stamped their authority. The sources describe it as, classic City build-up, really. Savinho, one of the new guys, puts in a dangerous cross from the right.
Okay.
Wydad's keeper, Mehdi Benabid, he gets a hand to it, parries it out, but it falls right to Foden. And Foden, he's just so clinical, doesn't hesitate. First-time shot, left foot, into the far corner, beautiful finish.
Wow, under 2 minutes in.
Yeah, and that goal, it wasn't just a number on the board. It fundamentally, and I mean fundamentally, changed the whole tactical picture. Wydad, the Moroccan side, they're known for being disciplined under their coach, Ben Hatcham. They clearly came in respecting City's possession game.
Right, you'd expect them to sit back.
Exactly. The plan was likely to stay compact, maybe a deep block, frustrate City, and then hit them on the break, maybe use the pace of guys like Lorch or Malula. But Foden scoring that early, it just blows that plan wide open.
Forces their hand.
Totally. Wydad can't just sit deep anymore. They have to push up, try to get the ball back, look for an equalizer much sooner than they wanted. And the moment they do that, bam, space opens up. Space in midfield, space behind their defense.
Which is exactly what City wants.
Precisely. Guys like Foden, Turkey, they thrive in those pockets. So instead of Wydad frustrating City, they're suddenly exposed to City's quick attacks, the very thing they wanted to avoid. It basically lets City control the game's rhythm from the get-go.
And just when Wydad might have been trying to, regroup, maybe get to halftime, just one goal down, City strike again. Jeremy Doku this time. Sounds like he popped up unmarked at the back post from a corner.
Yeah, textbook timing. Really ruthless efficiency from City. This was just 3 minutes before halftime. Foden takes a corner, whips it in. And Doku, described as making an acrobatic strike, gets there unmarked at the far post and volleys it home.
Ouch for Wydad.
Big ouch. It shows great delivery from Foden again, but also really smart movement from Doku to find that space. The Wydad defense, maybe already tired from chasing in the heat, maybe still thinking about that first goal, they just switched off for a second.
And that's all it takes at this level.
Exactly. And that goal, it didn't just make it 2-0, it effectively sealed the victory before the interval, as one source put it. It basically killed the contest, made Wydad's second half task go from really difficult to pretty much impossible. They had to throw even more players forward later, leaving even more space for City.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, especially for anyone who follows Pep Guardiola's thinking. He's famous for his tactics, sometimes throws curveballs with his lineups, but here, opening game, new tournament, he goes for freshness, new faces, sources say a heavily rotated squad. What does that tell us about his plan for this tournament and how much faith he has in his bench?
I think it tells us a massive amount about his long-term planning and, yeah, his confidence in the entire squad. It wasn't just about giving guys a run out. It feels like a calculated move, managing player energy levels, because this tournament schedule is intense. Lots of games, not much recovery time.
Right, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Precisely. By resting Haaland, Rodri, Ruben Diaz, some huge names, he's signaling that. He trusts the depth he has to get the job done, especially early on. And think about the new signings. Reinders from AC Milan, Ran Turkey, throwing them straight into a competitive game.
Bit of pressure for a debut.
For sure, but it's also about integrating them quickly, getting them used to the system under real game conditions, not just in training. It takes time, builds that team cohesion faster. It really shows he's looking at the whole picture, the whole tournament. It also sends a message internally. Step up. Everyone's needed.
And that lineup itself, the 4-3-3, some interesting points there. Ederson gets the captain's armband, which you don't always see for keeper.
True. Shows his leadership status.
Enrico Lewis and Nico O'Reilly at fullback, bringing pace. Vitor Reis, a youngster, alongside Nathan Ake in central defense youth and experience there. But that midfield three, Reinders, Foden, Cherki, loads of creativity packed in there. What was different about Foden's role specifically here?
Yeah, Foden's positioning was key. He wasn't playing as deep as we sometimes see him in midfield. He was pushed further forward, almost like a false nine at times, or a very fluid attacking midfielder.
Closer to the action.
Exactly. It got him into those dangerous areas more often, which obviously paid off with the goal and the assist for Doku. He was right in the thick of it. And Cherki, on the left, he had moments too. Nearly scored a third. Apparently took a brilliant save from Benabit to stop him after a bit of invention, as the source called it.
Sounds like a very dynamic front line.
Incredibly fluid. They weren't just sticking to positions, they were swapping, moving, making it really hard for Wydad's 4-3-3 structure to cope, to track the runners. That fluidity, combined with their technical skill, is what really pulled Wydad's defensive shape apart and let City dominate possession and create chances.
You know, seeing new signings slot into a team, especially a Guardiola team with its complex demands, it's always revealing. The reports mentioned really strong debuts from both Tijani Reinders and Ryan Cherki, even under the spotlight. What did we learn about them here, and what does their quick impact say about City's recruitment, maybe?
Well, connecting it to the bigger picture, seeing them integrate so smoothly, especially in a rotated lineup, it speaks volumes about City's scouting, yeah, but also their coaching, how they prepare players. Take Reinders. Described as an impressive debut, looked composed, assured on the ball, even when pressed.
Good.
Excellent passing range, apparently. The stats back it up, something like 68 completed passes out of 74 attempted. That's a really solid for a first competitive game in a new system. High-pressure match. It shows why they brought him in from AC Milan, someone who can step right into that midfield and handle the demands, control the tempo.
And Cherki. More flashes of potential.
Yeah, Cherki was maybe less about the stats, more about the moments, flashes of the creativity that make him, one of Europe's most sought-after young talents. He wasn't afraid to try things, take players on down that left wing. That near goal showed his individual ability. It just reinforces that City's strength isn't just the starting 11, it's the depth. And their ability to find these young players with high ceilings and bed them in quickly. It's smart squad building.
But even with City looking so dominant, Wydad weren't completely shut out. They had that one big chance, didn't they? A moment that could have changed things if they'd taken it. What happened there, and how did Ederson, captain on the day, deal with it?
Yeah, even in a one-sided game, one slip can suddenly make it interesting. The sources mention Ederson being forced into a crucial 30th minute save. It came from a mistake by the young center-back, Vitor Reis. Suddenly, Wydad's forward, Cassius Malula, was through.
Heart-and-mouth moment for City fans.
Definitely. A goal then would have made it 1-1, completely changed the feel of the game, maybe given Wydad a massive confidence boost. But Ederson was sharp, quick reaction, good positioning, made the save. It was Wydad's clearest chance of the whole match, really. A good reminder that even when cruising, you need your keeper to be alert. Showed Ederson's value, not just stopping shots, but commanding the box.
So City go into the break 2-0 up, pretty comfortable. But the second half, things got a bit more lively. Around the hour mark, the big names start coming on. Must have been a bit intimidating for Wydad seeing Helen and Rodri warming up, But it wasn't all plain sailing once they came on, was it?
Not entirely, no. Bringing on the stars always shifts the energy. Rodri's introduction got the biggest cheer, apparently. He was coming back from a long-term knee injury, so that was a big moment for him and the team. His presence just brings that calm and control in midfield.
Huge player for them.
Absolutely. And Haaland, well, he came on and immediately gave them a different kind of threat, more direct attacking focus. You could feel the expectation rise. But, and this is the interesting part, the sources point out his rustiness. He missed several chances. There was that one-on-one that Benabid saved. Usually Haaland buries those. A few other sniffs at goal he couldn't convert. It's just a reminder, isn't it? Even for a superstar like him coming back from injury, you need game time to get that sharpness back, that killer instinct perfectly honed. So yeah, star power came on, but it wasn't quite instant fireworks.
And then amidst all that, we had something completely out of left field. The pitch invasion. A PETA activist. Tell us about that. What was the message and how did it, affect the game?
Yeah, that was definitely bizarre. Happened shortly after Doku's goal, actually. Maybe during celebrations or just after. An activist got onto the field. Sources say they had signs protesting Morocco's alleged treatment of stray animals, dogs and cats. The shirt apparently read, Morocco and the Stray Dog Massacre.
Okay, very specific message.
Very specific. It ties into PETA's campaign, especially with Morocco co-hosting the 2030 World Cup. They were clearly using the platform. The person ran around for a bit, drawing attention, before security tackled them and led them away. It paused the game, obviously. Referee had to stop play.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. It does raise that broader point about these huge sporting events becoming stages for protests. It's a tricky thing for organizers, isn't it?
It really is. You see it more and more. The global audience for something like the Club World Cup is enormous, so activists know they can get their message seen by millions if they manage to interrupt proceedings. It definitely puts organizers in a tough spot. They have to think about safety first for players, fans, everyone. They need to keep the game going. But they also have to manage how these things are perceived, the media attention. It's that complex mix of sport, politics, social issues, all converging on the pitch, a real tightrope walk.
And the drama wasn't over. Just when you think the game's winding down, 2-0 up, nearly full time. Controversy strikes. Rico Lewis gets a red card. What happened there, and why was it so debated? Sounds like intent was a big part of it.
Yeah, this was the big talking point right at the end, 88th minute. Rico Lewis goes in for a challenge on Samuel Obeng, who'd come on for Wydad. It's described as a high boot challenge. Now, the key detail from the sources is that Lewis apparently won the ball cleanly with his right foot. He's going for the ball.
Okay, so not a cynical foul.
Doesn't sound like it. But in the follow-through, his trailing left boot caught Obeng in the face. And the referee, Ramon Abadi from Brazil, boom, straight red card, no hesitation.
Contact to the head, even accidental?
That's the crux of the debate. Lewis clearly intended to play the ball, but the outcome was dangerous contact to the head. In today's game, with VAR, with the focus on player safety, endangering an opponent like that, even without malice, often leads to red. It's about the potential for injury. Tough call, but understandable why the ref gave it based on current interpretations.
So what was the reaction? Guardiola must have had his say. And what about Obeng, the player who got caught?
Guardiola did react. Called the red card unnecessary, defended his players, said Rico never had intention to hurt anyone. Pretty standard defense, emphasizing Lewis's character. But Obeng's perspective is really interesting. He basically said, I think it's a possible red card.
Even though he knew it wasn't intentional.
Exactly. He said, because it wasn't with intention to put his boot in my face, but he touched it with his boot after the action. He acknowledged the lack of intent, but also the reality of the dangerous contact. That really sums up the referee's dilemma, doesn't it? Obeng felt the impact, even if he knew Lewis didn't mean it.
Yeah, it does. So the consequence is clear. Lewis is out for the next game.
Yeah, suspended for the match against Al Amin.
So what does that mean for City then? Losing Lewis right at the start, heading into the next crucial group game, seems like a bit of a headache for Guardiola right away.
Oh, it's definitely a headache. Lewis is so versatile, gives them options at fullback, even in midfield sometimes. Losing him after just one game forces Guardiola to adjust his plans immediately, maybe rethink some of that rotation he wanted to do.
Test the depth again.
Exactly. Puts more pressure on other players, maybe someone like Nico O'Reilly or others in the squad, to step up and fill that gap, especially on the defensive side. In a tournament this compressed, any suspension, especially early on, can really mess with your rhythm and force you to use your resources differently than you'd planned. It's an early test of their adaptability.
Okay, despite the red card drama, let's talk about the standout performers, because there were some brilliant displays. Phil Foden got man of the match. What made his performance so impactful? Sounds like he broke a bit of a goal drought, too.
Foden was outstanding, really showed his class and maybe his growing maturity. It wasn't just the record-breaking goal, but also the assist for Doku. That direct goal involvement speaks volumes. And yeah, the sources mentioned it ended his longest goal drought since he broke into the first team.
Must have felt good for him.
Huge relief, I bet. A big confidence boost. But it was more than just the stats. Playing in that advanced role, he was orchestrating things, constantly looking dangerous, taking responsibility. His comment after the game, really important to start off with a win. If we win, everything is going to be easier, shows that team focus. He really led by example.
And Doku, too. Besides the goal, his overall contribution was highlighted, but maybe a slight worry about him later.
Doku was definitely equally valuable. Down that left wing, he was a constant threat, took defenders on, had 7 shots apparently, always looking to make something happen. His goal was a quality finish, that volley. He gives them that explosive, direct dribbling threat that's so hard to handle.
What the injury concern?
Yeah, the sources mention an apparent injury concern in the second half, something they'll obviously have to check out. Losing Doku for any length of time would be a blow, especially with the games coming thick and fast. Hopefully it's nothing serious.
Fingers crossed for City fans there. And let's not forget Wydad. Despite losing, they had players who stood out, right? Especially the goalkeeper. Seems he kept the score down.
Oh, absolutely. Mehdi Benabid, the Wydad keeper, deserves considerable credit. Sources say he made several excellent saves. That stop from Haaland one-on-one was probably the pick of the bunch. Without him, yeah, it could easily have been 4 or 5-0. He kept them respectable.
Anyone else?
Their captain, Nordin Amrabat, also gets a mention. Provided experience and leadership when his team was under huge pressure, trying to keep them organized, keep their heads up. It's tough in those circumstances, but those individual performances show there's quality there, even in defeat.
Okay, let's zoom out now. This tournament, this new FIFA Club World Cup, it's a massive deal. For Manchester City, what does this opening win really mean in the context of the whole competition? What are the stakes for them, beyond just lifting another trophy?
Well, connecting this back to the bigger picture, it's huge for City, not just for the silverware, but financially and reputationally. This win puts them top of Group G, straight away vital points on the board. They still got Al Ain next, then Juventus. And remember, in this new 32-team format, only the top 2 from each group go through.
No room for error, really.
Very little. Every point counts. An early slip-up could be disastrous for a team with City's ambitions. Winning the whole thing would also be, as the sources note, the perfect response to a trophyless 2024-25 season they apparently had.
Ah, right. A bit of redemption.
Exactly. Reassert their dominance, especially in this brand new, high-profile competition. And then there's the money. We have to talk about the money.
Go on. The figures sound staggering.
They are. Sources mention a $1 billion prize pool.
$1 billion?
With the winners potentially pocketing up to $125 million. That is serious cash, even for a club like City.
Wow. That kind of money changes things, doesn't it? How could that impact the wider world of soccer?
It really could. Think about it. Compare that to, say, winning the Champions League. This is a massive financial injection. It could give the clubs that succeed here a huge advantage in the transfer market, maybe widen the gap even more between the super-rich clubs and everyone else.
Could drive up transfer fees.
Yeah.
Wages.
Potentially, yeah. Clubs know this prize money is out there. Maybe they hold out for higher fees. Players and agents know it too. It could shift club strategies, how they prioritize competitions. It's enough money to fund major infrastructure projects, invest heavily in youth development, or just go out and buy that game-changing superstar. It definitely raises questions about financial balance in the sport moving forward.
So City are chasing glory and that huge payday. What about Wydad? Tough start, but what's their path forward look like now?
Well, their next game against Juventus on June 22nd is now absolutely massive for them. They desperately need to get some points on the board to have any realistic hope of qualifying. Another loss, and it's probably curtains for their knockout stage chances.
But they showed some spirit against City.
They did. This spirited performance, even in defeat, suggests they have the quality to cause problems for other teams in the group, maybe Al Ain. If they can be a bit more clinical on the counterattack, maybe shore up their defending on set pieces, they could still make things interesting. It's a huge opportunity for them to test themselves against top global sides.
Let's talk more about the competition itself. FIFA's calling it their boldest expansion of club soccer. From that small 7-team event in December to this 32-team summer beast across the U.S. It's a total reinvention.
Complete transformation. It's not just bigger, it's fundamentally different. A 32-team summer spectacle, like you said, spread across 12 venues here in the States. And it's got this dual role, which is fascinating.
Dual role?
Yeah, it's a major championship, crowning the world's best club. But it's also a crucial rehearsal for the 2026 World Cup. FIFA gets to test everything: logistics, stadiums, transport, security, fan zones across multiple cities, a year before the big one.
Like a massive dry run.
Exactly. That shows how seriously they're taking this Club World Cup. It's not just another tournament. It's strategically vital for them. And it positions this competition as a potential rival to continental championships, like the Champions League, both in terms of prestige and clearly the prize money. It signals a real shift in the global soccer calendar and power structure.
So, boiling it down, billion-dollar prize pot, 32 teams, World Cup rehearsal, massive exposure in the U.S. This is way more than just a few extra games, isn't it? It feels like FIFA making a huge statement about where club soccer is heading, maybe challenging the dominance of competitions like the Champions League.
I think that's a very accurate way to put it. It is a profound statement. FIFA is planting its flag firmly in the elite club competition space. Positioning it as a rival in prestige and finance is a direct challenge. For U.S. fans, it's amazing, unprecedented access to top global clubs right before they host the World Cup.
And broadcasting it free worldwide on day as EN.
That's another big signal. They want maximum eyeballs, maximum accessibility, make it a truly global event. Even Guardiola, he acknowledged the demands, the season is too long, but crucially added, it's important to be here.
That says it all, really.
It does. The clubs see the strain, but they also see the opportunity, the money, the status, the global platform. FIFA is definitely trying to reshape the top tier of club soccer, making this the new pinnacle. It'll be fascinating to see how it changes club priorities and the overall landscape in the coming years.
Looking ahead specifically for City then, strong start, yes, but hurdles too. The Lewis suspension, that potential Doku injury. How do those things factor into their immediate future in the group stage?
They're definitely factors Guardiola has to manage. Losing Lewis for the Allianz game means shuffling the pack defensively. The Doku situation needs monitoring. If he's out for any length of time, that's a significant attacking weapon missing. So City need to be careful, manage the squad smartly through these next 2 games, secure qualification, ideally top the group, but also keep key players fit and continue integrating the new guys.
So, still a balancing act.
Always is for Guardiola. But look, based on that first game against Wydad, even with the rotation and the challenges, the signs are mostly positive. The mix of players look good. They showed tactical flexibility. The squad depth is clearly there. They absolutely remain formidable opponents for any team in the competition. They've shown they can handle a few bumps in the road.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Manchester City's 2-0 win over Wydad AC, definitely the start they wanted in this new Club World Cup.
Yeah.
We had Foden's record goal, Doku's sharp finish, promising debuts, mixed in with a bit of late controversy with the red card and that rather unexpected pitch invasion, a game with a bit of everything.
For sure. And despite those moments, the overall performance really suggests City are serious contenders to defend their title, or rather win this new version of it come the final at MetLife Stadium on July 13th. They've definitely put the rest of the field on notice.
All right, so as we finish this deep dive, here's something for you, our listener, to think about. This radically different expanded Club World Cup, what does it really mean for the power balance in global club soccer? How will that massive prize money and the global stage change how teams are built, how players are bought and sold, maybe even the very fabric of the sport down the line? Is this the future or just more money for the clubs at the very top? What's the biggest long-term impact that stands out to you? Let us know what you think. We'll be back soon with another deep dive.